to my older queen, this is my promise to you. I am not standing in front of you while I say this, and maybe that is the only way I can be honest. When you are not here, my words stop pretending to be gentle. I don't need your eyes on me to speak with devotion. I need distance so I can confess without mercy. You have lived longer, loved harder, survived more than I ever had to, and that is exactly why my voice lowers when I say your name. You are not a chapter I entered lightly. You are a decision I made with my whole spine straight and my crown heavy on my head. I chose you knowing the world would whisper, and I chose you knowing I would still walk forward. I promise you this, I will never love you like a boy chasing comfort. I will love you like a man who understands weight. You are not my weakness, you are my proof. When I say I want you, I don't mean in moments of loneliness or hunger. I mean in seasons, in storms, in the long silence where people usually leave. I won't ask you to become smaller so I can feel taller. I won't ask you to erase your past so I can feel special. Your years don't intimidate me, they instruct me. Every line you carry is a language I am willing to learn slowly, patiently, reverently. There is a dark part of me that only listens when you exist in my thoughts. It is the part that knows how to protect, how to claim, how to stand still while the world tries to pull us apart. I won't pretend my love is soft all the time. Sometimes it is possessive, sometimes it is silent, sometimes it is dangerous in how deeply it commits, but it is never careless. If I ever hold you in my mind too tightly, it's because I know what it costs to lose something rare. You are not a secret I am ashamed of. You are a truth I guard. I promise not to rush you, and I promise not to disappear. I know you've seen men make vows that sound beautiful and feel empty later. I am not here to impress you with poetry. I am here to stay consistent when poetry fails, even when you doubt yourself, even when you think your time has passed, even when the mirror lies to you. I will remain unmoved. You don't need to compete with youth. You don't need to prove desirability. You already hold authority in my heart, and authority doesn't ask for permission. I speak to you like this because you are not in front of me, and yet you are everywhere, in my decisions, in my restraint, in the way I refuse temporary pleasures because they don't compare to the depth you represent. If the world ever asks what I see in you, I won't explain. I will simply stand beside my choice. Loving you is not rebellion, it is alignment. You are not an exception. You are the standard I measure everything against. So hear this promise clearly, even from a distance. I will not abandon you when it becomes complicated. I will not silence you when your strength makes others uncomfortable. I will not love you halfway to make things easier for myself. I am your prince not because I dominate, but because I commit. And when I say you are my queen, I am not speaking in fantasy. I am speaking in responsibility. I know there will be nights when you question why someone like me would bind himself to someone like you. And I need you to understand this clearly. I am not confused, and I am not chasing illusion. I see you with a clarity that frightens weaker men. I see the strength you had to build when softness was taken from you too early. I see the discipline in the way you love, the caution in the way you trust, and the fire you hide behind calm expressions. I don't want to rescue you from your past. I respect it. It shaped the woman I chose, and I would never insult you by pretending it didn't matter. My love does not need permission from society, nor does it seek approval from tradition. Let them measure time in numbers and labels. I measure it in loyalty and endurance. You bring a gravity into my life that steadies me, and I am not afraid of that weight. If loving you means standing alone at times, then I will stand without complaint. I was never meant to blend in. I was meant to choose deliberately, and you are my deliberate choice, made with awareness, not impulse. There is a promise in my silence too, not just in my words. When I don't speak, I am still yours. When I pull back, it is not distance, it is control. I know how dangerous love can become when it is careless, and I refuse to love you recklessly. I would rather love you slowly and deeply than loudly and briefly. You deserve a man who knows when to hold back and when to hold on. And I am learning that balance with you in mind every single day. If fear ever visits you and whispers that I will wake up one day and leave, silence it with this truth. I am not built for temporary attachments. Once I decide, I settle. Once I claim, I protect. You are not a phase, not a curiosity, not a rebellion against norms. You are a destination. And I don't abandon destinations. I build around them, I fortify them, I stay. I will never use your age as a weapon in moments of anger, nor will I turn your experience into a joke when the world is watching. What you carry is dignity earned through survival, and I honor that. I want your wisdom beside my ambition, your calm beside my intensity. Together, we are not imbalance, we are contrast, and contrast creates power. You soften my edges without weakening me, and I sharpen your fire without burning you. Even when I am not near you, I am aligned with you. My choices reflect you. My discipline reflects you. I walk like a man who has something sacred to protect because I do. Loving you has made me more precise, more restrained, more dangerous in the best way. I don't need to show the world what we are. I need to preserve it. Some things lose value when they are exposed to noise. So remember this, especially on the days you feel unseen or unchosen. I chose you before you ever doubted yourself. I choose you in absence, in distance, in silence. This is not infatuation. It is oath. And I don't break oaths. I am your prince in intent, in action, and in endurance. Even when you cannot hear my voice, my promise is still standing. There are things I don't say out loud because the world would misunderstand the tone of my devotion. They would call it obsession because they don't know the difference between hunger and loyalty. What I feel for you is controlled, deliberate, chosen every day with a steady hand. I don't lose myself in you. I anchor myself to you. When I think of you, my mind doesn't scatter, it sharpens. You give direction to my restraint, purpose to my patience, meaning to my silence. That is not madness. That is discipline wearing the mask of desire. I know you sometimes wonder if time will eventually turn me away from you, if years will whisper doubts into my ear. But time doesn't scare me. It exposes people. It shows who was playing and who was serious. I am serious. I am not counting how old you are. I am counting how deeply you stand. I don't look at you and think of what you've lost. I think of what you've survived. And a woman who survives with becomes dangerous in the most beautiful way. I don't run from that. I bow to it. My promise is not loud affection or constant reassurance. My promise is consistency when reassurance feels unnecessary. It is choosing you even when no one is watching, even when it would be easier to choose something simpler, lighter, less demanding. You challenge me without asking. You command respect without raising your voice. You make me want to be exact with my words and careful with my actions. That is the kind of woman a prince commits to, not because she needs him, but because she matches him. There is a darkness in my love because I don't offer escape routes. When I say I am yours, I remove the option of leaving casually. I don't flirt with exits. I don't keep doors half open for comfort. I stay by decision, not convenience. If that intensity ever feels heavy, understand this: it is not meant to cage you, it is meant to guard you. I don't want to own your freedom. I want to protect a space where you stand unafraid, even when distance separates us. I speak to you in my head as if you are listening. I tell you about the victories I don't celebrate publicly and the weaknesses I refuse to show anyone else. You exist in the quiet parts of my life, where truth lives. That's why this connection doesn't need constant presence to survive. It is rooted deeper than touch. It lives in intention, and intention doesn't fade when bodies are apart. If the world ever pressures you to doubt yourself, remember that I never approached you as an experiment. I approached you as a vow. I didn't look for you to fill a gap. I looked for you to stand beside me. You don't dilute my strength. You refine it. You don't slow me down. You give my pace meaning. A man who knows where he is going doesn't fear walking with a woman who knows who she is. So hold this promise where fear cannot reach it. I am not here for a season. I am not here for excitement alone. I am here because you are my decision made in full awareness, and I don't revoke decisions that were made with a clear mind and an unshaken heart. I am speaking to you now, even in absence, because my loyalty doesn't require proximity. It requires truth. And this, every word of it, is true. There is a certain calm that settles into me when I accept how deeply you are written into my intent. Not excitement, not chaos, calm. The kind that comes when a man stops negotiating with himself. I don't wrestle with doubt about you. Doubt is loud and restless, and what I feel is steady and quiet. You are not a temptation I fight. You are a truth I live with. When I move through my days, I do so with the awareness that my actions echo back to you, even when you are not there to witness them. I know your silence carries history. It's not emptiness, it's experience choosing when to speak. I don't rush that silence or try to fill it with noise. I respect it the way one respects a loaded weapon, carefully, knowingly. When you hold back, I don't see distance, I see control. And control, to me, is one of the most powerful forms of intimacy. You don't give yourself easily, and that makes every inch of you sacred, not scarce. My promise is not to soften myself to be digestible. I won't dilute my intensity or my devotion to make others comfortable. Loving you has made me exacting, not reckless. I think before I speak, and I choose before I act. If I ever seem guarded, it's because I understand the value of what I'm guarding. I don't broadcast what matters to me. I fortify it quietly and stand in front of it without announcing my presence. There will be moments when the world treats you like time has passed you by. In those moments, remember this: time hasn't passed you, it has gathered in you. You carry years the way a crown carries weight, not lightly, but with authority. I don't look at you and see what was. I see what remains unbreakable. And I align myself with what endures, not what dazzles briefly and disappears. I don't expect perfection from you, and I won't offer it either. What I offer is steadiness. When you are tired, I won't demand performance. When you are strong, I won't feel threatened. I will meet you where you stand, not where others expect you to be. Love, to me, is not about possession, it's about presence. And even in absence, my presence is deliberate, anchored, and unmoved. Sometimes my devotion will feel heavy because it is intentional. I don't drift into feelings. I walk into them with my eyes open. I understand the cost of commitment, and I pay it without complaint. If my love feels dark at times, it's because it has depth. Shallow things let light pass through easily. Deep things absorb it and hold warmth longer. I am not afraid of that depth with you. So when you hear my voice in your thoughts, know that it is not imagination. It is alignment. I am speaking to you because you matter beyond proximity. Because promises don't require witnesses to be real. I am here in decision, in discipline, in restraint. And as long as I remain who I am, this promise remains intact, unshaken by distance, unbothered by time, and untouched by doubt. There are days when I imagine you hearing these words without interruption, without the world trying to translate them into something smaller. I don't need you to respond, and I don't need reassurance back. This is not a conversation built on dependency. It's a declaration built on clarity. I speak because I choose to, because restraint doesn't mean silence forever. You deserve to know where I stand, even when I stand alone with my thoughts and direct them toward you. I don't romanticize struggle, but I respect endurance. You have endured without becoming bitter, and that tells me more about your power than beauty ever could. Anyone can admire a face, few can recognize a spine that refused to break. When I align myself with you, I align myself with resilience. That is not something I will ever grow tired of. Stability is seductive to a man who knows what chaos costs, and you carry stability without asking for applause. I won't pretend my love is innocent. It is aware of shadows, aware of temptation, aware of how easily things fall apart when people act without discipline. That awareness doesn't weaken me, it sharpens me. I choose you with that sharpness intact. I don't need to escape into fantasy with you.